Folks, welcome back to my channel. It is Spikes86 here, and guess what? It's CAS Wednesday. I did give you guys some bonus content this week, and so we dropped a Ratchet Legacy challenge on Tuesday, which was just yesterday. Um, and we kind of walked through what that challenge is, but I also wanted to get back to creating Sims for the Gaze in the City series by Teflon Don, Jeff Teflon Don. And so we are doing that. So this is our second sim for that series. The first sim we did was Mark Strong. This sim we're doing, I wanted to be a little bit more femme, but I also wanted them to be a bit high fashion. So the inspiration for them was definitely Honey Balenciaga meets Law Roach. And then, of course, inspired by Samantha Jones. Samantha Jones, little Carrie Bradshaw, and then this is when I discover, oh yes, we're leaning into the law. I call it law. I call him Law LaRoche, but I know it's Law Roach. Which we were also super geeked about the Met Gala, and we are talking about Black dandyism and how the theme is dandyism and whether or not the Met was going to do it correctly, which we kind of knew the Met was going to do correctly, but I was here for the looks. I was here to see how much blackness was actually going to show up on the red carpet. So we did actually end up playing with this sim and watching the Met Gala, which you can check out that stream on Twitch. Um, but right here, we're kind of playing around with this sim. We, did some features, worked through a bit of kind of some makeup, how we want them to look. Definitely settled on this hairdo, and now I'm about to get into really breaking down who they are as a character, right? And so we get into that, but in the meantime, what I want to do is definitely shout out the Ratchet Legacy challenge. Is 10 generations of scammers who are basically, their ultimate goal is to try to get as much riches as possible. And so I hope that you do actually take the challenge. You can follow along on that challenge in Twitch. I am going to be live streaming that, but I'll also be posting those episodes up on YouTube as well. So right now we're getting into some makeup. I want them to be femme, but not necessarily super femme. I also wanted to make this an adult sim. So as you can see, like when you make an adult sim, which I'm really annoyed by, they automatically give them like bags under their skin, which is really annoying. So right here we do a little fast forward quick edit because we did spend a lot of time ranting on their face. We went through and kind of gave them the fabulously wealthy aspiration. We gave them ambitious, creative, and perfectionists. I really wanted to lean into like them becoming a stylist and really being all about fashion. And we settled on the name Strawberry Jones, which is a mixture of that Samantha Jones. I still wanted to kind of J initials, and of course, because we were also inspired by Honey Balenciaga, I wanted to create like a very like fun name like Honey. And so yeah, here we got Strawberry Jones. We're picking out their traits, their likes and dislikes, and now we're kind of going through and seeing like what is their particular style. So definitely Strawberry Jones is not a meek bitch at all. That bitch goes out and she goes very far. I was thinking about the new Pride makeup that we had gotten, but I was like, I want to save that for a different outfit. But I also remembered at this point that this was pack limited. I also forgot, for some reason, I forgot that Jeff London had Discover University, and I believe, is it Equal Lifestyle? No, I think it's just Discover University. And so I don't know, I was struggling because we had this nose ring and I really liked this nose ring. I do take it away, but then I do put it back at one point, because even though like they might spawn with it or not. We use a lot of high school years too, ironically with this sim, which was really fun. And I really wanted to give them high fashion. So we really spent a lot of time figuring out kind of like makeup and the look that we're going, if we're going pouty and whatnot. So yeah, as you can see now, I'm taking away the nose ring because I'm realizing, oh, he doesn't have it. But I don't know, I got caught up in the wrong thing. Then I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I can get some tattoos from the gallery. And maybe I could do like some nose rings from the gallery. And yeah, it didn't work out the way that I had hoped to work out. There just wasn't anything like really sticking out for me. And one day I have to go to the gallery and like pick out kind of piercings and tattoos. I also was like trying to look at like if there's a makeup overlay, and I can't find these makeup overlays. I know that people have done it, but I can't find them. So like if you have a creator that does the makeup overlay with the tattoos that you know of, drop them in the comments because I would love to like do some overlay makeup and play around with tattoos a little bit beyond how we're supposed to use tattoos. So I definitely wanted to give them some tattoos. So we do give them a chest tattoo. We also give them a rib tattoo. We keep it pretty simple with like base game and business and hobbies. I don't think I go overboard with any tattoos. I think I actually just stick with these two tattoos, and then I think, all right, maybe they'll get more tattoos in game. Um, right now I was thinking, you know what? Definitely want to give some glasses because I know Law LaRoche went through a glasses phase, and so I really wanted to kind of bring that. And then I was like, all right, we need to figure out what is the right glasses, and the shape, and then we settled on these kind of aviator type of shapes because they were really cute and they really worked. We also went through and kind of picked out the different looks. We went with like a definitely a preppy streetwear polish type of look. Um, I kept thinking about how Law is high fashion but very much put together. And so again, we use a lot of high school years, which ironically works super duper well. So this is outfit number one that we're working on. I don't remember. I think we either settled on maybe 3 or 4 outfits for this sim. Um, I think we ended up doing like we ended up in game. I think adding a new outfit for the winter look, um, but we only have one outfit for this one. So in game, they do have two winter look outfits. So sorry that did not go up on the gallery. But I love these red pants. And then I kept thinking, okay, are they going to be a heel hoe or like um, nice shoes? And then I was like, no, like the heels was just not selling it for me. We did make their feet bigger, and so maybe that's why it wasn't selling for me. But I didn't want like small dainty feet either, so we kind of went with a more like chill slipper like type of shoe. And so these shoes really just like resonated with the style and the look. Then I was thinking, okay, do we want to add tights? Which we did add tights. We did add some rings, which was really nice. I kept going back and forth over whether or not I wanted to add some fingernail polish. I don't know if I did add fingernail polish. I cannot remember. I don't think I did. For the next outfit, I really wanted something more cunty, more cutting edge. And so we definitely went with this business and hobbies type of, look. I actually really wanted to do like these boots and really like lean into kind of this really dandy aesthetic. And so I really loved how this kind of came together. I think I might have bitched about the Urban Homage kit because I was going back and forth between these chains. I ended up settling on the business and hobby chains, and then we gave him this beret, and I was like, "Oh yes, bitch, you better set it the fuck off." And this mint green, and then I kept going back and forth between this hat and that freaking beret, and I was like, I don't know which one to choose, and then I think I settled on the beret. And then I was like, all right, we need some lips. I think we ended up going with like this darker lip. I love the contrast of how all of this kind of came together. We then went and put on some glasses. We chose the same kind of round shape, but just like a different type of pair of glasses, and it works out well. So now we're into outfit number 3, which I really wanted to have like the business and hobby suit. I wanted a brighter color. And yes, we went with these slippers. We took off the socks. Very much giving an aesthetic, a vibe. We ended up, I think, changing the glasses, taking the hat off. We did give this hat because we never play around with this hat, and then I really loved like I wanted to have like a different hair aesthetic. Um, and we kept going back and forth like between what hairs do we want, and I think, what did we settle on? Did we go back to like our signature hair? I don't remember what hair we had settled on because I was going back and forth like, do I want something to bring to the front? Um, and I was like, I really want like a boho but really chic kind of aesthetic. And so I think we ended up just sticking with like our regular hair. Oh no, we might have went with this hair. No. Or you know what we did? We went with the pigtails. We were like, all right, let's go with the pigtails. They work, and then I wanted to play around with like different earrings. And I was hoping to get a necklace, but I don't think a necklace could beat on this outfit. So that kind of sucked. Um, and then at this point, I was thinking about nails, but I was like, I don't know if nails is their aesthetic. I was just like, I don't know about the nails. And then this is me kind of going over the outfits. Then we moved on to formal wear. Um, Now for formal wear, I was like, all right, let's see what outfits is out here. And I like was leaning towards this. Wait, is this every day? This is still every day. Sorry. This is still every day. I think this is when I like double checked to make sure I was using the right packs. I think that's what it was. I was like, am I using the right packs? Now we moved on to formal wear, and this is where I was like, all right, I need to make sure we're using the right packs. I was like, all right, I really want. I ended up using Get Famous, like, for this, and like I stumbled across this like suit jacket, and it was given Giovanni Versace and Givenchy, and so I was like, yes, this is definitely the aesthetic, this is the vibe. And so we went through and kind of like really leaned into that vibe, that aesthetic. I think I even went and changed their hair too. And at this point, I was like, I want an updo. And I was thinking, okay, we want a bad bitch pony. And I was like, no, not that ponytail. And unfortunately, they don't have Love Struck. And so I went with the base game ponytail that we just got updated. And I was like, yes, this is the vibe. This is what it is. I was thinking about switching up their eyeliner a little bit, and we did switch up their eyeliner. I think we did give them a little bit more of a beat. And then for the lipstick, I was like, all right, let's see if we can experiment, play around with a little bit. And so we ended up, I think, just settling on like a nice gloss. And then this is our sportswear look. Sportswear, I wanted to be outlandish as well. Again, they do nothing quiet. And so we went with this kind of escapade look, which came from high school years. And I was like, yeah, I could totally see them doing this escapade look. It's ridiculous enough, but it's high fashion enough. And then I was like, all right, we're going to do this side pony. Now for their sleepwear, they definitely needed to have a bonnet. And then I was like, okay, we want a bonnet, and we definitely want to do something a little bit more sleek for them, but very simple. Like, they don't need to go to sleep with a whole bunch of stuff. And so we ended up going like very basic black robe. And now we're doing the party wear look. And so for party wear, I think I did two outfits for party wear. I did this shirt that I really thought was really cool. Like, it's kind of see-through, but it's got some patterns on it. And I thought, yes, this is a very Law LaRoche kind of shirt going on. And then I thought, okay, we probably could do a hat. Like, what type of hat do we want to do? And I kept going back and forth with the hats. I was like, should we do a fedora? Then I was thinking, ooh, this is high fashion with that freaking cowboy hat. Then I was like, oh, wait, but we could go for this hat, which is the life and death hat. And I think we ended up settling on that hat. We eventually do change the shoes, so we do not keep these boots. Well, I think we do the Manchuno boots. Yes, we do the Manchuno boots, and it works. It is a pretty lovely outfit, and then we move on to the second outfit, which at this point I was like, okay, we need like a white party outfit. I was thinking about this white suit, but I was like, it's just too plain. And I kept going through, and I was like, is there anything that isn't so plain? So I switched from the full bodies to the separates, and we settled on this where, yes, it's a white party, but color is still life. And again, this is black dandyism too, so we still wanted to have a little bit of color, a little bit more fun. We did change the hat, which we did go for I think we went for just a white hat in the same life and death mode. We did bring the hair to the front, so giving a little bit more cunt. And then we did give them some fingernail polish, some short fingernail polish, and some toenails, and we put them in like these platform shoes. And I was like, this is great. So then for swimwear, I was like, of course you need to be in a Speedo. There is no doubt you need to be in a Speedo. I was also thinking, okay, do we want to put your hair up? Because yes, you would want to have your hair up. And then I was thinking, oh, we never use this business and hobbies like mohawk thing. So I thought, okay, that could work for this outfit. We did give them some toenails, fingernail polish, and I think that works. And now we're moving on to the hot weather look, which I think this one I leaned into definitely the full white party kind of aesthetic. I really like this vest. I wanted to find like some really nice pants, and then we settled on some rainbow shoes. And then at this point I was like, yes, it's the pride makeup time. It's pride makeup time, bitches. And so we put on the pride makeup, we put on a really nice bold lip, and then I think I might have went for a hat. Yes. I feel like, oh, I couldn't do that hat, but then I was like, all right, maybe we'll do this hat. And then I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe we can experiment with a different hat. And then I was like, maybe no hat. So now we're into the winter wear look, and I wanted an all pink aesthetic because they're strawberry, baby, and we needed to have that. And then I went with this freaking Russian kind of like hat. I was going back and forth between all the hats, and I was like, no, let's do it. We're leaning into the cuntiness of it because this bitch is cunt. And so we needed to lean into that aesthetic a bit. And also we brought out their signature glasses, but we put them in the white glasses. And at this point, now we're looking at all their looks. So this is the winter wear look with the Ugg boots. This is the first everyday look, giving you that 360. You know, this is the second everyday look, which is giving you a little bit more high fashion, dainty, cuntiness. This is the third look, which is still like very chill, relaxed dantyism. So we were very much in that, and I love that color. This is the formal look, which is definitely giving Armani, Versace, and Givenchy. So it's very chic, very upscale. It's kind of similar to what their Met look kind of look like. And then this is our basically sportswear look. And then this is our sleepwear look, giving you very classic, very demure. This is our party wear look. This is look number one, or look number two, I should say. And then we go to, I think, look number one right here. They're basically black and white, kind of the same coin, but in a different way. We have a pattern on top in this one. And then this is our swimwear look. It's giving. We're showing off body. And then this is our pride white look on a boat, on a yacht. And I'm doing the damn thing. And then we have back to our winter wear. And so, yeah, we had a ton of fun creating Strawberry Jones for the Gays in the City series. This other sim over here, we ended up deleting. We wanted them for their money so we can move them into their apartment that we created. If you want to see their apartment, let me know. I can make a little short video showing off their apartment, what we created. But they are up on the gallery if you want to download Strawberry Jones. I think Strawberry Jones is really fun. I think they're going to be a fun addition to the Gays in the City series. Check out Jeff London's series. They are here on YouTube. I will be tagging them in the description. But yeah, that is pretty much it. And I will see you guys next week for another CAS Wednesday. Definitely keep an eye out for the Ratchet Legacy. We are working on Generation 1, which is the psychic scammer with our matriarch Portia Carlisle. And so I'm really excited to kind of see how this legacy takes shape. I'll be starting on the second legacy, which is like the continuation of this legacy soon. I'm hoping to kind of get some more collaborators so we can start thinking of like what really good things can we do in the game. I think that'll be really fun and interesting. But until next time, please like, comment, and subscribe. I am Spikes86 everywhere. That's on Twitch, that's on Spiel, and that's on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for joining us and have a good day. Bye bye.